So John Wick 3 just came out, and in honor of that, I'm recording this episode with my dog, Tiny.
Oh, Tiny.
Tiny.
And if somebody comments on this video,
hey, it's the guy from Fortnite!
This is my response to you. Okay, so for our first John Wick movie, which would be actually the first movie in the series, which would be John Wick Chapter 1, I have to say this movie is pretty good. Considering all the way that 3 went, this movie is actually one of the better ones. This is probably the best action movie I saw of 2014, and it's been one of the best action movies I've seen in a while. For the past 5 years in between this movie and the third one, there's not really been anything that's really been as good except for the sequel to this movie. So it's pretty great when your action movie can still stand up against all your other ones. This one was actually excellent. I actually really like this one. This is probably my favorite movie of 2014. I heard it got really overlooked that year when it came out, because it had like competition with Annabelle or something like that, and it knocked it off of the #1 spot, which is really sad considering how bad of a movie Annabelle 1 was. And this one is really good. This one is non-stop action, but it actually has a good story to it, unlike some of the other ones in the franchise, like number 3, which I'm going to explain later on. And it is well shot. The music is done very well in this movie. It's added well. The acting in this film is brilliant. I really like it. Willem Dafoe did a great job. Really underestimated how good of a job he did on this one. And he probably was the best character in this movie. Keanu Reeves is a legend at this point now because of movies like this. And I think this one's better than The Matrix. Although most people would disagree with me on that. I like this one more than The Matrix by a lot. Because he felt kind of lifeless in The Matrix, and this he has character. He has a dry sense of humor, and I really like that. That's really fun. He's a fun action movie character, and Keanu Reeves did a great job, and this is probably his best movie. Although I think John Wick Chapter 2 beats it by a little bit, but this one is really good. This is probably the second best one in the series, but this is a great start. This is one of the best starts you can ever have for a series, except for maybe Godzilla 1954, which surpassed literally everything in the series by a long shot. And this movie-wise, is probably, like, this is a turn your brain off, watch this movie, just enjoy it. It's not, like, too hard to think about, like the movie I'm going to review later this week. And it is just fun. It is just movie fun. And that is why I give this one, compared to the other ones, a 7 out of 10. Very good. Great start. Now time for John Wick Chapter 2, which is probably the best one in the entire franchise, thinking about it. The action in this one is superb. This is some of the best action I've seen in a while, and Keanu Reeves is just excellent in this movie. And the only problem I have with is the story isn't as good as this one. It's just never as much. I never have liked the story in this one as much. Although I like the characters more in this one, the story wasn't as good. Although I do like the hotel lobby manager. Probably he's one of the better characters in this, mainly because I recognize him from the TV show Fringe. But I really like this guy. He's one of the better characters in the show, and they will later bring him on into it in Chapter 3, but this is his best part in the movie. I think he is better in this one than in Chapter 3. And Keanu Reeves is just killing in this movie. The deaths in this movie, oh my gosh, it's insane. They're just non-stop. It's just crazy. It's just non-stop action throughout this movie. And the ending of this movie is one of the best in the entire while for an action scene. For like the mirroring glass was a great idea. I have always liked that idea, and it's just done so well. Everything is shot well. You can tell this is what the director knows what they're doing. Although it looks a little too polished sometimes, it looks really good for for a film, and considering this movie was made for a lot of money, it shows it's a great looking film, and you can tell most of the budget went to New York, but it looks like the film just looks amazingly pretty. It's one of the best looking films in that entire year, and it just came out it came out at a weird time, just like the first one. It came out on Valentine's Day. They just came up with horrible times to release these movies. The first one was released in the horror season, and now this one was released during Valentine's Day, and it was just rough for this movie when it came out. Although it made its budget back and it did really well in the box office, it just came out the wrong time of the year. All of the ones have so far came out the wrong time of the year, except for the third one, which I didn't like the third one, and I'll get to that one next. And this one is just a fun movie. It's well directed, well shot. The characters are great in this one. The story is just holding it back, and that's why I give this one an 8 out of 10. And it is the best in the series. Oh boy, welcome to the rough spot in this series, and that's going to be John Wick Chapter 3. John Wick Chapter 3 is just rough everywhere. It is a jumbled mess. It was probably the worst one, action movie wise, I've seen this year. I think it was worse than Dark Phoenix, and that is saying something. I hated Dark Phoenix, and it is just boring, and it's when there's too much action in a movie. The past two had just enough action to be fine. It made it great. But this one just has too much action. There was no story in this. And I really hated Halle Berry in this film. She was just thrown in there for her to be in that movie. It could have been anybody else, but no, you have to have Halle Berry, a famous actor, into this movie. And it was just terrible. It was just a jumbled mess, and there was nothing to it. It was plain, it was boring, it was not well shot. It was just action. There's nothing to it. And it was like watching the Transformers movies where the story takes a back seat and it's just action. While the first movies did have the same kind of problem where the story took the back seat, at least the stories in it were good. This one had no good story to it. It was just, oh, let's write off the other films. Oh wait, we're gonna make it so we can have more sequels into our film franchise because we don't want it to be dead because this series is making money now. So let's just make it so this film series will last for free freaking ever, because I hate it when the series are supposed to end, but no, we have to have more sequels in them. Ooh, we need more sequels. And I think this film would have been better if John Wick just died, because there'd be more. There wouldn't be more, and I don't like it when they keep making franchises last longer than they should be. I've heard where they made it so that it was supposed to be a trilogy, but now it's going to be freaking forever now because the franchise is now making money, so they're going to be like, hey, that makes lots of money, let's make more sequels, and let's run this series into the ground. And they already have done it, and everybody loves this movie for some reason, and I don't. I think it's horrible, and I think it's just a jumbled mess. I don't want to see it again, because I'm going to have to watch it again when the fourth one comes out, but I don't want to, because this movie is just terrible. There's nothing to it. And that's why I give this one a 4 out of 10. Sheesh. How far the apple has fallen from the tree.